Gymnasium in Riverside, where the RCC Tigers play host to the 4th-seeded Hornets of Fullerton College. This is RCC basketball on Riverside TV, and alongside Jeff Gorham, I am Nick Rice. RCC headman Philip Matthews has been a collegiate coach for nearly 50 years, including 7 seasons at RCC. His coaching stops include roles at UCLA, San Francisco, Cal State Fullerton, and Nebraska, winning over 500 games during his tenure. But at Riverside City College, he is 1 win away from his first ever Orange Empire Conference Championship. Jeff, you've known Philip Matthews for, I think, since the moment that he was born. It's been that long.
I'll tell you what, I have known Phil Matthews since I was born. He has been a family friend of ours, and I'll tell you what, he's one of the best coaches. You can't say one of the best young coaches when you've been doing it for 50 years, but he is one of the finest coaches, disciplinarians, and just one of those guys you can look at and you say, he's a Hall of Famer.
And when you look at him, he's getting all the Tigers ready to go. Riverside has turned it around this year and looked like an incredible club, and they've got a conference championship potentially on the line tonight. What do you think is going in the head of Philip Matthews right now?
Well, you know, he's been in this situation so many times in his career, but he's just looking to get this win. I don't think he looks so much for the championships. He just wants to get a good seeding come playoff time because he is a state champion. When he coached at Ventura, he just wants to get a good seed.
Starting lineups including those 2 number 10s, Jacob Iman in the white for Riverside. Number 10, Justin Motley, and Jacob Iman are toe-to-toe there at the center circle. Fullerton with Amaje Smith, Ryan Perry, Ronnie Stapp, and DJ Houston. Riverside with Kalen Vance, Melvin Walker, Amir Davis, Justin Motley, and Xavier Ford. Final regular season game of the season for Riverside, and Fullerton has won the tap. The Hornets got off to a sizzling start against Riverside at the Hornets' Nest last month, but RCC came back down as much as 7 and won the game by a final tally of 69-59 back on January 17th. That is one of the many conference wins for Riverside. They are 13-2 in the league. Here's the steal, and the Tigers are on the run, led by Amir Davis, their exciting freshman.
Yeah, and looking at both teams now kind of feeling each other out, playing a little man-to-man, both squads, to start this early.
And Fullerton has been quite the defense this season. They have the best scoring defense in the conference. Alley-oop, it's nearly thrown down inside by Motley, but is scooped up by Davis on an offensive rebound. He barrels to the rim and scores to put up the first points of the game.
Well, that's a tough shot. Great offensive set, though. They didn't give up on the play. They went and got that second chance basket, and that's what happens. Riverside starting off good here early.
Amir Davis is one of almost the entire roster. Only 5 non-freshmen that are on this club. There's the block from Motley, and Ryan Perry scoops the offensive rebound. Riverside is one of the youngest clubs in the conference, but have the best record in the league right now.
They've got some dynamic guards. Also, you know, Melvin Walker, son of Tony Walker, whose dad played at Loyola Marymount back in the day with Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball and those guys. Uncle, Billy Walker, the best point guard to ever play here in Riverside.
The best point guard?
Of all time. He was the Big West, I should say the PC2A all-time assist leader, which the PC2A is now the Big West. A great player, played at John W. North High School, got a CIF championship, played alongside Kelvin Butler, who was a starting center at UCLA during the Reggie Miller era.
And we have seen some of the dignitaries in UCLA and other folks watch some of these RCC games, men and women, and Reggie Miller certainly comes to mind. And when you talk about the talent that comes out of Southern California, Riverside is about as hot a spot as there is. Out of ML King High School, Kawhi Leonard was a Riverside product and, of course, went to San Diego State.
He's had Tony Snell, who was on that same team at Martin Luther King, still playing in the NBA, had a stellar couple of years with the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard was the fourth option on his high school team.
Loose ball's tipped in by Ronnie Stapp of Fullerton, and the Hornets have scored the first points of the game. It really is an intriguing story with Kawhi Leonard, who was so heavily under-recruited coming out of high school, and with how productive a prep career as he had, it almost is perplexing to consider how many Pac-12 schools didn't even look at him as a scholarship guy.
Well, when they had their point guard Carlin Brown, who was the Pac-12 tournament MVP. You had Eric Wise, who was a starting center at USC, Tony Snell, who's an NBA player as well, and Kawhi Leonard. That's a pretty darn good team.
Sure is. And Riverside's a few years removed from having a couple players represent the Mountain West Conference coming out of this school, including a Bray Ivory and a Frankie McQuay for the Tigers. Davis at the horn misses the foul line jumper, and Fullerton, a stellar defense out of the OEC, forces a shot clock violation.
Yeah, Fullerton really jumping the lanes, forcing Riverside to cut, but they can't seem to get in their offense on that last possession.
The dribble drive from Ronnie Stapp of Fullerton. The Hornets not just a top-flight defense, but they are scoring 71 points per game as Fullerton. RCC's held them to one field goal through 3 minutes. Hornets the short shot clock. That shot blocked by Justin Motley of Riverside, a sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio.
He's already got a couple blocks here to start this ball game. He has been active inside.
And we've been raving about the production from players in the Riverside area as Vance hits a long two-point shot, but Philip Matthews isn't afraid to scoop up a Justin Motley from Ohio and a Sammy Richardson, who's a product from Nebraska.
Well, he's always been a great recruiter. That's why he was was so successful at UCLA. He was successful everywhere he's been. Head coach at University of San Francisco, Ventura. He has those grassroots embedded throughout the entire country and does a great job of recruiting.
Over 500 career wins. I'd say that's pretty good, Coach.
That's a lot of wins. I can't even count that high.
You can't even count that high, huh?
No, I can get to about 12, and I'm about done.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, just one more win, and that's the amount RCC has got in the conference this season as Davis takes a tumble off the offensive rebound. And those 13 conference wins, the most ever under Philip Matthews in a single season.
Yeah, Coach Matthews, you watch him, he's a little, his antics are quite legendary.
It sure is.
I'll tell you what, if you've played for him, and I know a lot of guys that have, being that he's coached for 50 years, they all love and respect him. It's kind of a badge of honor to get yelled at by Coach Phil Matthews.
But the first thing that you said, Jeff, is that he's a calm guy.
He is. Outside of basketball, he's one of the calmest guys around.
Xavier Ford to travel. I mean, and considering just how dedicated he is to the RCC program, I mean, I'm sure the Tigers would take no matter what attitude he has.
He's got his roots in Riverside. His entire family's got I want to say he's got like 15 brothers, and they're all part of Riverside heritage. They're around all over the place. There's a Matthews brother there, he's had a couple great brothers that were great athletes. Greg Matthews was a CIF champion, played at North High School where he won a CIF championship, and then played at Poly with Reggie Miller. 2 championships at 2 different schools.
My goodness. And then usually, when a guy has an excellent playing career, I mean, it helps to play and translate to coach, but it's very difficult to indeed make a good transition from player to coach. Well, you're taking off the one hat and putting on I'm going to tell you guys what to do now. That type of hat.
And I think it helps when you have brothers that can all play. And I think it keeps you in tune to, if you're a great player and you worked on your craft, you worked on your game, I think it can translate, and usually does if you work on fundamentals. You want to build players up. You want to make them better. When they start, you only have them for 2 years here. It's not like high school or a 4-year college. You only have 2 years, so you really got to dedicate yourself to improving these players.
Spinning jumper rolls out by way of Melvin Walker. Transition from Jacob Iman has that one knocked out of bounds. Excellent defense from the Tigers. I mean, for Philip Matthews, the challenge is when you recruit as well as he does, usually players are only here for one season, not two.
I mean, yeah, if they're qualifiers or they're top bounce backs, and Coach Matthews has been known to get a few bounce back players. Like you said, half your team might be sophomores when they come in, and that can make it difficult. So every year you've got to rebuild. I think JC basketball coaching is the toughest, and I've done it before. It is the toughest area of coaching.
Where did you coach at?
Right here at RCC.
There you go. Yep.
And I'll tell you, it was difficult because you had to reload every single season, and that means you got to get out on the recruiting trail. He's got Shannon Taylor, one of the great assistant coaches. I see him at all the different high school games. I covered a Riverside Poly game last night, and there I looked across, and there was Shannon Taylor, assistant coach for RCC.
Inbound is stolen by Melvin Walker of Riverside. Rim running, it's the Tigers. And Vance missed the transition layup. Fullerton clears. The Hornets, one of the best rebounding clubs of the OEC. DJ Houston. He flips it in with a chance to tie the game.
You know, and you look at this Fullerton team.
Took the lead, rather. Sorry, 7-6.
You look at this Fullerton team, and they average 71 points a game, but they have 5 guys that are in double figure scoring. That's pretty darn rare. Sometimes you look, Riverside only really has 2 guys in double figures, with Melvin Walker just below the 10-point mark. But the 5 guys, and just look at that. If you are Riverside, you cannot let this Fullerton team get in transition, and you can't give up easy baskets. Foul him, put him on the ground, don't make him get that 3-point play.
Yeah, Fullerton, a very good free throw shooting team. And that's good by DJ Houston. Fullerton gets to the line about as good as any. 20 free throw attempts a game for the Hornets. Davis to the rim has that pass knocked out of bounds by the Hornets. For those of you just joining us, Nick Rice, the entertaining former Tiger coach Jeff Gorham with you. I mean, there must have been no better time throughout the course of your excellent athletics career as Vance hits the 3 to put Riverside back in front. No better time than to show up at Wheelock Gymnasium in front of this crowd, which gets behind your team any year. I mean, you could be 0-29.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Wheelock Gym looked a lot different than when I coached here many years ago. The renovation is nice, but I still miss the old feel of the old Wheelock Gym.
So what was it like before?
You had the big wooden bleachers that went all the way up. Now it's modernized. You even have individual seats over there across the way. I remember sitting in wooden bleachers, and it went all the way up to the wall. It was just a different feel. But I do like what they've done here at RCC.
Oh, of course. I'm a little spoiled. You know, I came here just a few years ago when this was, renovated and finalized. And ever since I've been here, Riverside has represented one of the Southern California playoff teams. It's going on 4 years in a row the Tigers men's program has made the postseason. And that is certainly courtesy to Philip Matthews and all involved here at RCC. Hoping to hang another banner at Wheelock Gym. Just about 7 minutes into the game, 11-9, Fullerton. Hornets shooting well to begin the game, 4 of 8, led by Ronnie Stapp, who has 5 points for the visiting Hornets in the first half. The sophomore from Santa Monica is one of the league's best scorers at 12 points a game.
There's been some pretty good coaches here at RCC. If you talk about the lineage, Bill Mulligan being one of those guys that was the head coach at UC Irvine, was also at Saddleback and Irvine Valley, started that program. And then, of course, there's a guy named Jerry Tarkanian. So some of you might have heard of that guy. He won a few state championships. And John Smith, who is now the head men's basketball coach at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, won the last championship in 2009.
Yeah, John Smith, quite a hire in the Mustangs. This will certainly get the okay from our great Ghazal Hassan, but John Smith, he has turned around a program in his first year, playing very well with the Mustangs. We didn't have much expectations this season.
He used to spend the night on my floor when we were kids.
No way.
Yes, we were childhood buddies. My brother and I shared a room, and John Smith would come over and sleep in a sleeping bag on the floor between my brothers and our beds. And now he's the head coach. So, in fact, when they played UC Riverside last month, we sat down for a couple hours before the game and talked about, running around Riverside, playing up here at Wheelock Gym. We used to come to basketball camp here at RCC basketball camp every season. His dad, Lucky, was on the state championship team for Jerry Tarkanian.
Wow. That is amazing. the lineage to, Riverside basketball. Vance pull-up jumper short. And it seems to me that once you have joined the program, you never really leave.
No,
and they can't get rid of you either,
No,
Jeff.
I was the ball boy for the football team. When I was a kid, I was the ball boy for the basketball team when Dave Waxman was the head basketball coach here. I have all of this knowledge in my head.
You sure do.
I gotta share it with the people here on Riverside TV.
Yeah, we're just getting overwhelmed, are we?
Great pick there.
This for the lead. Three-pointer is short from Zakiah Love, who's coming off a career performance, is the freshman from Redondo, California, with 23 points. And one of Riverside's, their SID Nico Della Valle mentioned, one of the biggest wins in the Philip Matthews era. That was against Santiago Canyon, the former number 2 team in the state. Tigers dispatched the Hawks on Friday night. Corner 3 from Devin Howland is no good. But the Hornets clear the offensive rebound. R.J. Knibb misses the layup. Tied at 11, nearly midway through a defensive duel in the first half. Tigers and Hornets. RCC caught fire from the three-point line when they met last time at the Hornets' nest. Long two-point shot. Bounces off the back iron from Melvin Walker. And both teams fight for the loose ball. We talked about the great Philip Matthews and all the excellent coaches at Riverside. If there is any coach that has a resume like Philip Matthews, it's Perry Webster of Fullerton. He's just 31 years old, and he already is a 2-time conference coach of the year and guided Fullerton to the state championship last season. This was the team that won the title a year ago, Fullerton.
And not only was he a champion as a coach, he was a champion as a player, played at Saddleback College, and played for Andy Grounds, where he won a state championship there as a player at Saddleback.
He also was a point guard at Cal State Fullerton.
That's right.
There you go. I can contribute to this conversation,
good.
Jeff.
That was good.
His career record at Fullerton College, he is young enough where he could still, at least earlier in his career, maybe could pass as a player. He's 119 wins and 30 losses. And this season, Fullerton is 21-4 and ranked as the 14th team in the state of California. Pocket pass to Darius Ware, who scores on a reverse layup. The sophomore from Antioch picks up his first field goal of the game, and the Tigers have the lead. This game was back and forth a month ago, and it's been a similar story today. Cross-court pass from Omoje Smith, and Bonner misses the three for Fullerton. Davis in transition hops inside and missed the layup over Stapp. And we've got a foul.
You got to like the second effort Riverside is really putting in on the offensive glass.
And that is where Riverside dominates the conference with over 12 offensive rebounds a game. And there is something to be said about this team almost annually having one of the best rebounding teams in the conference. That includes coaching and buy-in from the players.
That's because if you don't rebound, Coach Matthews is going to scream at you.
And that'll help you buy in.
I'll tell you what, if he screams at me, I'll go rebound for him. We were talking about the Fullerton head coach. We have their Fullerton former head coach, Andre Smith, is in the building today. He's a Riverside resident and he also was an assistant coach to Bob Schermerhorn when he was the head coach here at RCC. So little ties from Andre Smith I see sitting in the bleachers, and Fullerton.
Layup is good from Omoje Smith. I'm sure the coaches would come around after these bleachers have been renovated here at Wheelock Gymnasium. Off the glass, Edwin Collins drills the foul line jumper.
He has to call that. They shouldn't count that. If you shoot it off the glass in the front, you better call it.
Edwin Collins has made quite a few shots. He didn't score at all on Friday night, but drills an impressive jumper. And Amanje Smith, the sophomore from San Diego, is at the free throw line for Fullerton.
Got to shoot three. That was a dumb foul. Bad foul by Sammy Richardson.
And Phil Matthews will certainly make sure he knows that.
If he didn't, he's going to watch this broadcast and say, that was a really bad foul. Good call, Coach Gorham.
Even though you've been out of the coaching ranks for a little while, it seems like you do just about everything else. I mean, you're always a coach deep down, always looking at these games from a coach's eye.
Yeah, but the beauty of this opposed to coaching is I can go home and I didn't win or lose. And so most of the time I lost. I never got 500 wins, but now I just go home and I can tuck my kids into bed and I can smile and have a nice dinner and not be stressed.
I think we always win after a game like this, right?
Every time I call one of these games, I win because I get to watch great basketball here at Riverside.
And we'll see just how far Riverside can take their winning this season. Ware spins and flips it in yet again. With RCC's Philip Matthews going with such a deep bench, it seems every game there is a new breakout player for the Tigers. And the sophomore from Antioch, Darius Ware, might just be the breakout performer today. In the regular season finale for Riverside College, entry pass to R.J. Knibb, and the freshman from Orange draws a Tigers whistle. Number 12, Edwin Collins, a J.W. North High School product, got a hand in there. The Tigers, despite the 2-point lead, they've been a little foul happy to start this game. 5 personals against Riverside to start things off. Pass is tipped into the hands of Collins. Riverside shooting 41% for the game, 1 for 4 from distance. Richardson is left open, motors in the paint, and missed the shot. That was partially deflected inside. Smith with the defensive pressure for Fullerton, and the Hornets will have the ball down by 3 late in the first half.
Darius Ware going after the glass there, but picked up a foul.
Riverside certainly off to a solid start despite the turnover offensively. And the Tigers certainly have flourished in this building on that end of the floor this season. They have won their last 8 home games. Whether it's the barbecue cooking, whether it's the intimate fan base here at Wheelock Gymnasium, no matter what it is, the Tigers haven't lost here since early December. It's been over 2 months since the Tigers have lost a home game.
I think it's because they sell lemon heads for just 25 cents in the snack bar. And cherry heads.
25 cents?
25 cents. It's the cheapest menu item they have.
Xavier Ford to the basket off the steal. He was hit by Devin Howland and fouled with 8:15 to go in the half and a 3-point Tiger lead. What else are they selling over there, Jeff?
They had all I noticed is they had lemon heads and cherry heads and apple heads. So I'm going to take the apple heads home to my kids. I'm going to eat the cherry heads. They had some nachos, it looked like, but I'm watching my figure.
Have you taken your kids to an RCC game yet?
This year, no, because I've called 30-plus college basketball games. I did take them to Rome, though, last week. I just got back 2 days ago.
Rome or an RCC basketball game. Both of them are very, very interesting.
It was like we went to the Coliseum. This is like the Gladiator Wars right here. We're sitting up top.
Yeah.
I'm Augustus right here. I'm going to give him thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm going thumbs up with the Tigers up 5.
You do like the effort for RCC to start?
I do. I think they're playing smart. You watch them defensively. Their heads are on a swivel. They're talking on defense. They're playing the zone pretty well right now.
DJ Houston gets rid of it to Ronnie Stapp, who misses the 3-pointer. Hornets a cold shooting first half. They are just 1 for 4 from distance through 13 minutes. Driving layup is good. And Perry Webster calls timeout for Fullerton as the Hornets have fallen behind by 7. It's their largest deficit of the game. Riverside 22, Fullerton 15. Back in a moment to Wheelock Gymnasium on Riverside TV.
People, there are more needs for things like roads, schools, and hospitals.
I learned that billions in funding goes to communities like ours because of the census.
I learned that the Census Bureau collects data about communities in all states and territories of the U.S. Statistics in Schools offers free educational materials powered by census data. Learn more at census.gov/schools.
The City of Riverside's 311 app lets you stay more connected than ever. Riverside's 311 app allows you to submit service requests like graffiti, code violations, potholes, and more. You can also check on any past requests you've submitted, pay your utility bill, and review current press releases, articles, and social media. Download the Riverside 311 app today from your app store or at riversideca.gov/apps.
Up 22-15 in the final game of the regular season. That was a pretty fast-moving first half, was it, Jeff?
I love it. We'll be able to watch some good TV when I get home tonight. Be able to watch Blues Clues.
Or a re-air of this game on Riverside TV. Amir Davis is rim running for the Tigers and hits the floor and loses the ball. Fullerton in the front court. Off the turnover, this is Elston. And the wild pass is corralled by Perry on the run, and the Hornets will slow down the offense. Riverside has gone on a 6-0 scoring run. Layup is good from Jacob Iman, who leads the conference, shooting 58% from the floor, and it's quite a few of those shots like that have helped Fullerton win 21 games this season. Vance misses the floater. Perry in transition for Fullerton. And the layup is good from Amajay Smith. And now Philip Matthews exhausts the timeout as Riverside's lead has been cut to 3 on the basket from Smith. This is a good opportunity to shout out the RCC Athletics this season. I mean, even from your days, Jeff, RCC Athletics has been among the best junior college athletics in the state. But every program, looking at this, every program has some exciting storylines this season. The Tigers football team won the state and de facto national championship at 13-0. Women's basketball a winning record. Men's basketball their best conference finish under head coach Philip Matthews. Cross country, men finished 12th. Women 5th in the states. Water polo finished 3rd in the conference. Volleyball a winning record, and baseball is 11-2.
Well, I'll tell you what, Riverside, RCC Sports last year, every single program made the playoffs. That's a pretty impressive stat.
It's incredible. Riverside, fresh off the timeout, set things up with a 22-19 lead. This was the sort of defensive duel we anticipated coming into the game as Davis throws it away. Ryan Perry with his 11th steal of the season. The Tigers score 70 a game, Fullerton 72 a game. DJ Houston dribbles into traffic, but the ball caroms into the hands of Amajay Smith. Yes. And we are tied at 22.
Smith was not happy, thought he got pushed. You could see a little, they were jawing. That's just going to give them a little bit of momentum here.
And with a 7-0 spurt, Amajay Smith has been at the front of it. He had a brutal game against Riverside on the 17th of last month. 4 for 17 from the floor with 5 turnovers. Smith, the bounce-back game today for head coach Perry Webster and the Hornets. He has 10. Backdoor cut is poked by Vance and stolen by Riverside's Amir Davis. Tigers on the run, tied at 22, and this layup is good. Xavier Ford gives the Tigers the lead. He's got 4 points for Riverside. The Tigers in a back-and-forth game, the narrow lead, and with a win, they would be at least co-conference champs. Corner three for Ryan Perry. And in a game of this magnitude, it seems after an early deficit, the Hornets have played pretty well on the road. They're shooting 8 for 16 as this pull-up jumper from Love is a bit strong. And it certainly is difficult in a game to conclude the year for a team like Fullerton to hit the road, Riverside having so much to play for and shooting this well to begin the game.
And there's Smith right there, I think, with the foul. And I think they're going to call it a flagrant because it was, if we can see the replay here, maybe we can see what happened, but
certainly was an aggressive.
And he was mad to play before.
Yeah. That seemed, once he got frustrated, Fullerton really just took off here in this first half. And the Hornets have shot well in the last 5 minutes of the game. How did the Tigers slow this thing down?
Well, they're getting a lot of transition baskets. You just got to get back to the gut, right back to the paint, and then play from inside out defensively. You can't get beat in transition. Shot goes up, you've got to send a couple guys back on defense.
Lamage Smith leads all Fullerton scorers with 10. Ronnie Stapp with 5. Riverside has been paced by their freshman guard from Portland, Oregon, Keelan Vance with 7 points. Darius Ware with 7 as well off the bench for head coach Philip Matthews. Integral game today out of the Orange Empire Conference. Tigers could at least clinch a co-conference championship. It would be the first ever under head coach Philip Matthews if the Tigers win today.
It looks like they're going to call a technical foul here.
Justin Motley, a 61% free throw shooter, heads to the stripe for Riverside with a chance this one to tie. And he missed it. Riverside missed their first 6 free throws in that big comeback win against Santiago Canyon on Friday, but then shot well in the second half from the stripe in the win, and Motley splits the pair. We're tied at 25. Our officials for today's duel is Matt Arellano, Tony Norwood, and Annie Shannon. And they've let these players play a little bit, knowing the implications of this game. Both teams working with 16 fouls with 4:30 to go in the first half, tied at 25. Riverside winning their last 8 home games, 7 of 8 overall. Driving layup good from Edwin Collins.
It was a nice move.
And a Tiger lead. 8 ties and 9 lead changes when they met last month, and it's a very similar game today. Dribble drive. And Howland draws a whistle against Riverside. Philip Matthews a bit frustrated, head coach of the Tigers. After this game, Riverside, I'm sure Philip Matthews knows this, with them not playing on Friday, RCC is also, if they are the 7 seed, which if the playoffs were to start today, they would be the 7 in Southern California. They would enjoy a bye to open up the playoffs. How do you keep this intensity going knowing the Tigers have at least a week off after tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, it gives them an opportunity to kind of get rested, fresh legs.
Motley misses the layup and Fullerton takes over. RCC certainly flourished last year, fresh off a week to prepare for their home game against Mount San Jacinto to open up the playoffs. It was here on Riverside TV, and the Tigers, who lost big to the Eagles earlier in the season, they trounced MSJC to advance to the California Sweet 16. Long three-pointer is short, and the rebound's ripped away from Motley, who flips it in.
When Motley came ready to play, he's finishing up his sophomore campaign here. His family was here. And I'll tell you what, he's got some young, fresh legs.
Justin Motley, 6'10", 210 pounds, from Lutheran East High School in Cleveland. His 58th offensive rebound of the year. Corner three is good from Ryan Perry, the freshman. And Fullerton on the road. The Hornets, away from the Hornets' nest, are 10-3 this year and lead 30-29 late in the first half. Foul line jumper from LeVay is off the back iron. Tigers, a cold conclusion to the first half, shooting 12 for 30. The Hornets are at 59% from the floor in the first half. I'm sure Riverside is encouraged to see the Hornets shooting well, yet they only lead by one, as this straightaway three is a bit short, and Perry's got another offensive rebound for the Hornets. Off the pick from Iman, Houston barrels to the rim, but an illegal screen is committed against the freshman Jacob Iman. Turnover Fullerton. That is the Hornets' 7th. Nick Rice, Jeff Gorham, thrilling game here between Riverside and Fullerton. Tigers at the moment the top team in the Orange Empire Conference, 11th in the States, which also is their highest ranking ever under Philip Matthews. Fullerton is not far behind at 14th. Corner three from the freshman Amir Davis, missed it. And Vance snares an offensive rebound and lobs out to their playmaker, the freshman from JW North High School, Melvin Walker.
Oh, that's big travel.
Yeah, travel. Ronnie Stapp, the freshman from Bakersfield, the turnover. Hornets with 8 of those. And if it weren't for the sloppy first half for Fullerton, they have shot well enough to have a much bigger lead than one. With under 2 minutes to go in the first half, kick ball from DJ Houston of Fullerton.
I like what Fullerton's doing defensively here. They're making Riverside beat them from the outside. They're sitting in that 2-3 zone.
RCC 1 for 7 shooting the three today. Offensive foul, Justin Motley, the illegal screen. Now the Tigers, they were almost perfect from distance in the second half against Fullerton when they met last month, and Riverside certainly is hoping to have a similar performance in the second half of this game if they want to mount a comeback today. DJ Houston dances, shoots over Vance, and missed it short. And that ball was cleared. The Hornets keep possession. R.J. Knibb with a crafty play for Fullerton.
He threw it between his legs. Threw it out the. And how do you hit those legs? Motley's got tiny legs. That was a good shot. Watch this.
To have the wherewithal to not even look at Justin Motley, too. Hornets with an offensive rebound, their 5th of the game. RCC with 9 offensive boards. Out to O'Neal. Tough break for Fullerton as it's halfway down and out. And Xavier Ford on the wild drive. Draws a foul up top. Touch foul on DJ Houston, a sophomore from Santa Monica who is entering some foul trouble for Fullerton. That is his second personal. And the 8th team foul for Fullerton with under a minute to go in the half. And Xavier Ford, a freshman from Pasadena, shooting 64% this year at the stripe, and drills the front end of the 1-and-1 to tie the game. Riverside will not play on Friday, but Fullerton has one game to go. They play host to Saddleback Friday at 6 p.m. in a matchup between seeds 3 and 4 out of the Orange Empire Conference.
Yeah, Saddleback's got a great coach, got him Andy Grounds. Big-time coach, won himself a couple state championships as well.
Gauchos will be a tough out in the playoffs. They are 17-9 overall, 10-4 out of the conference right now. Two-timers separated by 19. Motley involved on that turnover from Fullerton on the pass intended for R.J. Knibb. And now both timers are basically identical in a game tied at 30, where Riverside hasn't shot particularly well, but they have forced Fullerton into some major miscues in a tie game.
Yeah, and it's really been up and down, but you think the score would be in the 50s already. It's 30-30 here.
Now Hornets with 8 turnovers so far in the first half. That has hampered their first half offense. 10 seconds to go in the first half. Tied at 30, Keelan Vance for the lead. Misses the 7-footer. Fullerton with 2, with 1. Runner at the horn is off the back iron by Howland. And the first half has come to a close in a game we anticipated coming in. Both teams playing well. Fullerton shot better than Riverside, but the turnovers kept RCC in the game.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, both teams playing really hard, playing really good defense. You look at the score, just 30 apiece, but I look to see Coach Matthews and Coach Webster will work with their troops here at halftime and make adjustments.
Keelan Vance had a career night against Fullerton back on the 17th and hopes to have a similar performance in the second half of this game as his Tigers are tied against Fullerton at 30. Back in a moment for more Tigers basketball as you are watching RCC Hoops on Riverside TV.
The Community Police Review Commission was created to promote public confidence in the professionalism and accountability of the City of Riverside's Police Department. The commission consists of an all-civilian panel of members from across the city. The commission's roles include advising the mayor and city council on all police relations issues, reviewing and investigating officer-involved deaths, receiving complaints, and conducting hearings on misconduct against sworn Riverside police officers, making policy suggestions, and bringing community concerns to the attention of the Riverside Police Department. If you're interested in learning more about how you can serve or for information on the commission, visit riversideca.gov/CPRC.
What is the 2020 census? Every 10 years, the census records everyone living in this country. It's written in the Constitution and comes in a questionnaire that counts everyone who lives at your address on April 1st. The data can be used to inform funding for services like fire stations, schools, clinics, and representation that affect your community.
How will 2020 census data be used? Where there are more people, there are more needs for public services. That's why the census is used by the government to inform funding decisions each year. But that's not all. It's also used by nonprofits to inform services, by businesses to create jobs, and even by students for school projects. Understanding how the population changes helps us shape communities across the country for the better.
How does the 2020 census affect representation? There are 435 seats in the House of Representatives. These get distributed to the 50 states by population, and an accurate census response helps your state get the right amount of seats. States with smaller populations get at least 1, while states with larger populations might get more.
How do I take the 2020 census? In March 2020, every address in the country will receive an invitation to complete a simple questionnaire, and there are 3 ways to respond. Number 1, do it online. Number 2, call by phone. Number 3, send it by mail. For those who don't respond, a census taker from your community will follow up and assist you.
Is my 2020 census data safe? After sending your census response, your personal information is kept safe. By law, it can't be shared with any other government agency, law enforcement, or landlord. No one. So take your 2020 census with peace of mind. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
Okay. I ain't with the back and forth, I ain't back and forth, like fuck up what you asking for, but you're back and forth, like but is your man still back at home? He ain't that important, like you ain't really seen it like that before, like that before. You like when you put it like that, like that, like that, like that. You right? I'm about to have to backtrack, back on back. You right? You right? You right? You right?
Riverside on 212. Riverside.
Here in California, citrus is a part of our lives every day.
But what if it all just disappeared? A devastating plant disease called Huanglongbing, or HLB, spread by the Asian citrus psyllid, is fatal for citrus trees, and it might be found in your own backyard. That's why it's important that we all do our part to keep California citrus safe. Don't let California citrus disappear. Visit CaliforniaCitrusThreat.org to learn more.
El censo cuenta a todos los que vivimos en este país, incluyendo aquellos que no pensarías que también cuentan. ¿Una persona en el hospital? Sí, cuenta. Los García y los Álvarez que comparten la misma casa? Sí, todos cuentan. El primo Luis que está viviendo en el garaje de Pedro? También cuenta. El censo cuenta a todos para que a todos nos vaya mejor.
I do a lot of portraits and a lot of florals.
Leather, wood, cars, metal, I can't pick a favorite. So I'll go work on another project and I'll move over here, move over there, and I do have many things happening. And eventually I finish. I think for me it's creating anything. I just have to be creating something.
I start by writing my thoughts on the canvas, and then the painting starts. It's usually acrylic, and then some chalk or charcoal pencil on top, or occasionally it's oil. Definitely inspiration comes from travel, nature, and I think sometimes even reference images. It's not always reflected directly in the art piece, but definitely inspiration comes from it.
We have ideas and we run things off of each other, and we'll talk about, you know, a lot of times she likes things different than me. I'm like very finished and polished, and I like traditional woodworking things, and she may like an older, rattier piece of wood that I would throw away.
I love Riverside primarily for all the historical preservation. We knew this was where we wanted to be, just had to find the right spot. Just having the space that this house has for us creatively has really helped us as creatives, because
gives us space to do our thing.
He has that whole basement. I love my studio because of the lighting and just the inspiration, because I have nature right outside of my windows. So it's really, I think, important sometimes as creative people to be in an environment every day that brings you inspiration.
Code enforcement receives hundreds of new complaints each week from the public, and our code enforcement officers are tasked with responding to them. As part of the city's strategic goals, the Riverside City Council adopted a set of performance measures for the Code Enforcement Division of responding to 90% or more of complaints within 5 business days or less. Prior to this goal, the division's response rate was around 50% within 5 business days. In order to accomplish this, we made some minor process adjustments to streamline the process of getting complaints into the hands of a field officer, but most of all, we created a culture of responsiveness within the division. The Code Enforcement Division's automated case management system was used to initiate cases as the complaints are received, and not just at the beginning of each workday. This allowed real-time access to complaints that staff could address more quickly and often leads to same-day response. Staff has also made adjustments to their work routines to assist fellow staff if inspections are finished early, since the overall performance goal is taken as a group and not as an individual. After making these minor tweaks, performance skyrocketed. Staff averages are measured division-wide, with approximately a 92% rate of inspecting cases within 5 business days. But even more astounding is that 50% of complaints are investigated within 1 business day or less. Supervisors keep a close watch on staff performance and make assignment adjustments when needed. This success can be attributed to the Riverside City Council's emphasis on customer service to achieve its strategic goals. The main ingredient in achieving this goal, however, is staff's daily and continued hard work and commitment to achieving success with this performance measure. For more information about code enforcement or to file a complaint, please visit riversideca.gov/code or call 311, your one-stop shop for city services.
11, General Dwight D. Eisenhower and his deputy commanders chart the liberation of a lost continent. Plan when and where the mighty armies of the United Nations will strike. Today, northern France is that battleground. More than 11,000 planes spearheading the attack.
It was built in Santa Monica in 1943. At that time in our history, we didn't have an Air Force. We had Army Air Corps. So the Army Air Corps took possession of the plane and it did some flying in the States, wound up on the eastern seaboard and went to Europe after its state-bound flying. Then it joined the forces, the armed forces in Europe during World War II, and it flew numerous missions. Probably the most well-known is D-Day.
Vast squadrons of bombers and transports led the way.
We restored the plane back to what you see now with the invasion stripes to represent what it looked like on D-Day. That's the black and white stripes on the fuselage and wings. Those were put on all the Allied aircraft as an easy way for the 18-year-old Allied gunners in the Channel to identify them.
For the last 90 days, the D-Day doll has been honoring veterans and returned to Normandy, France, for the 75th anniversary of Normandy and the 70th anniversary of the Berlin Airlift and the Paris Air Show and Oshkosh International Air Show. It was epic. We had reenactors that we dropped over the original drop zones. And to know that 20-year-old young men went out that same door 75 years earlier, it's pretty emotional. History has a tendency to repeat itself. And if we keep educating these younger generations and letting them know what happened and what these types of airplanes did, and the veterans that were associated with it, the sacrifices that they did, we hope that history won't repeat itself.
We have 4 aircraft that our museum flies and maintains for the Commemorative Air Force. The Commemorative Air Force in total has about 150 World War II aircraft that we fly and maintain. We're about the 8th largest Air Force in the world. Well, you can buy rides on any of the aircraft, but the easiest way to get a ride is to become a member and volunteer. The museum is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 2. We're welcome to have individuals, groups. We have school kids come through regularly on tours to see the aircraft and to hear the history that the docents tell about each of the aircraft. We look forward to seeing you at the Inland Empire Wing, CAF.
The 2019 STEM Pull Academy will take place the week of July 22nd to July 26th. Students will explore amazing places and learn from some of Riverside's top engineers about principles and practices of the water and energy industry. You'll attend workshops with industry professionals. Participants will spend time with Riverside's distinguished members of the community like Mayor Rusty Bailey and other Riverside city officials. As students are gathering all this knowledge, you'll work in teams to develop a unique idea that could possibly one day benefit the utility or solve a utility industry problem. On the final day of the week-long event, the teams will take to the stage and present their design challenge idea to a panel of judges. They'll have a chance to win big and compete for team prizes of $500, $700, and $1,000. So if you're one of the first 60 students to register, a student who likes to share your skills and ideas, don't wait. Sign up today because the seats are going fast. For more information on this free event and how to sign up, contact Damaris Velez at dvelez@riversideca.gov.
Welcome back to Wheelock Gymnasium in Riverside, where the Tigers and the Hornets are tied at 30. RCC can clinch at least a share of the conference championship with a win tonight, as Santiago Canyon has 2 games to go in the regular season. What have you seen, Jeff, in the first half of a game that was seesaw throughout? I mean, we witnessed the game with 2 ties and 7 lead changes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Riverside should be happy with getting out of here with just a tie, because Fullerton has 7 assists on 11 baskets. Riverside just 2 assists on 13 baskets, but they did win the rebounding category. 10 offensive boards. That's what's kept Riverside in this ballgame.
Yeah, incredible shooting as well from Fullerton. The Hornets were paced in the first half by their veteran guard out of San Diego, Amaje Smith. 10 points through the first 20 minutes, and Smith should be an integral part of the Fullerton offense in the second half. Free throws for Jacob Iman coming out of the intermission. And for Fullerton, it was their 3-point shot which helped them keep in a game where the turnovers hurt them, the fouls as well. The Hornets, they were 4 for 9 from distance and now are 5 for 8 from the free throw line as Iman drills the first. And that's the sort of shooting effort RCC is crossing fingers doesn't continue in the second half.
Yeah, let's see if Fullerton comes out and plays zone. And it looks like they are. They're going to go a little, actually, they're going to come out in a man. A little surprising, going 1 for 7 there in the first half. Thought they would force him to shoot the basketball.
Riverside, an incredible bench that is certainly kudos to the recruiting prowess of a Phillip Matthews as Vance misses the 3-pointer. The Tigers outscored Fullerton 9-0 off the bench in the first half and 40-9 in bench scoring in that game back on January 17th. Xavier Ford, the defensive rebound for the Tigers. Fullerton, the best scoring defense and shooting defense in the Orange Empire Conference. Less than 59 points per game allowed for the Hornets. Mid-range jumper from Walker is no good. Houston to the rim, dumps to Iman, and his foul line jumper is good off the window. The Hornets have scored the first 4 of the second half.
Boy, he has been active all game long. He works really hard. Just a freshman at 6'10" from Los Alamitos. He's not a great athlete, but sure does work hard.
Iman with 8 points and 4 of them in the last minute. Transition layup that is knocked away, but the goaltend will give Fullerton the 2 points in a basket that was rolling off the rim.
Yeah, you got to be smart. The ball hits the backboard. That's a goaltending every time. You got to play smart basketball. I'm sure Coach Matthews is not happy with that play there as they're down 6 now.
Yeah, sloppy start to the second half. Fullerton for the game shooting 50%, just a scorching performance for the Hornets offense, which struggled with their shot in the last game. Fullerton, in fact, this is a top-flight offensive group as well, so they're capable of taking over a game with their 3-point shot. Corner 3 is wide right for the freshman Zekiah Lovey. TJ Houston to the cup, and his layup crawls off the rim. Last touch momentarily by Iman, but one of the Tigers, Justin Motley, got a hand on it as well as we see RCC's Edwin Collins check into the game.
And Coach Matthews went quickly. He pulls guys. It's like a vaudeville act. He's bringing out the hook. Screw up, you got to sit on the bench. This is for a championship.
Floater is good. And the Hornets have scored the first 8. Amaje Smith has caught fire in the second half. And Fullerton leads 38-30. That's their largest lead of the game, with a trip, as Jeff mentioned, through at least a co-conference championship and to a top 7 seed to the state playoffs on the line. Back in a moment, this is Tigers basketball on Riverside TV.
I ain't back and forth, I like fuck up what you asking for, but you're back and forth, I like but is your man still back at home? He ain't that important, like you ain't really seen it like that before, you like when you put it like that, you right. I'm about to have to backtrack, back on back, you right. 2, 1, 2. Riverside!
For most of the first half. There is a quick promo of UC Riverside. The women's basketball team just knocked off one of the Big West leaders in Long Beach State in women's hoops earlier last week. And the men, for a majority of the year, look like one of the best teams in that conference as well. They've suffered a tough couple weeks, have they, Jeff?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I was left for Italy. They go 0-3.
It's all your fault, Jeff.
And that's what Coach Patrick called me and said, get your butt back here. He says, stop enjoying the spaghetti and the vino. Get back. So now I'm back. In fact, tomorrow night they're going to play Hawaii, and first time those two teams have met all season long. And hopefully Riverside can get back on their winning ways.
Davis creates the action for the trailing Melvin Walker, who cans the three to open up the second half scoring for Riverside. As you just mentioned with UCR, I mean, I can speak for the women's side of the Highlanders. They have lost this year to some of the bottom feeders in the conference, but have already beaten the 1 seed and the 3 seed. Just like the men, I'm sure. It's a little frustrating to see them play so well, but not consistently. We'll see if they can continue that in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, it's just when you have young guys, and Riverside men only have one senior on their program. I'll tell you, the future's bright for Coach Patrick and his young team. And Coach Sarah Bell does a great job with the women over at Riverside. She's the intern. Maybe they'll lift the intern tag and let her keep the job. If not, she's done a great job piecing this team together after the loss of John Margaritis.
Offensive foul. Just like you shouldn't sleep on the 76ers in the NBA, led by that man Ben Simmons, don't sleep on the UCR Highlanders.
No, and Ben Simmons, the godfather, David Patrick is Ben Simmons' godfather. I don't know if you knew that.
Did not know that.
See, there you go. And was he
but I knew he recruited him.
Yes, he did. It's his godfather, and
that's pretty good recruitment. Everyone was perplexed why he didn't go to Duke or Kentucky.
Because of David Patrick.
David Patrick.
And here's the funny thing. This summer, Ben Simmons shows up at UC Riverside, and he brings his girlfriend, the Jenner girl, one of the Jenner girls. My son was all excited, got to go over and meet her and everything. She sat in the corner and talked to my son, my 13-year-old son, for about an hour.
Motley missed the layup, Smith the rebound. That is so cool. I mean,
I don't know how cool it is, but yeah, there was, in fact,
Smith the turnover.
Somebody put it out on social media that, I think it's Kendall Jenner, is that who it is?
One of those Jenners. One of those.
Well, anyways, they put it out on social media, and this was at the SRC Arena, within 5 minutes, the windows were full of people wanting to get inside and see not so much Ben Simmons, but Kendall Jenner.
Right. I mean, but that is the effect of maybe the only player or the only person not playing in the NBA that can garner that sort of attention.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, Ben Simmons who? That's Jenner.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, when you're coached by a guy like David Patrick, I mean, you can pull off someone like Kendall Jenner, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Smith to the cup shot, blocked by Motley, who's having a wonderful game on defense. If there was a section of bleachers back there, that would have been in about the 7th row. What a play by Motley.
That was like a middle blocker. It was a great spike.
Motley nearly got all ball on that lay-in from Devin Howland, the freshman guard from La Habra, flips it in. And Fullerton, who opened up this second half, scoring the first 8 points, lead 40-35 to the Hornets. Tigers have 15 minutes to play in a game, a very important game, where with the win, they would secure at least a co-conference championship with Santiago Canyon. Davis inside on Smith. Short shot clock for Riverside. That ball caroms out to Ford, who heaves a three and nails it. Ford a chance for a 4-point play.
That was a big-time shot. You look on the replay here.
I didn't see the foul, but as we look at it,
elbow.
Yeah, Ronnie Stapp, number 15. Yeah, first I was, trying to make sure it wasn't something Philip Matthews said. I mean, he has been pretty emotional in this game. But in speaking to some of our Riverside TV crew, he has been trumped by the emotion of Perry Webster.
Perry Webster's nuts, clinically crazy. Look at him on the sidelines. I'm sure our guys down there will get some video of him going crazy. See?
Does he know the Hornets have the lead right now?
I don't think so.
This certainly would be a tough out as Smith creates the offense. A kick out in the corner. The three-pointer from Howland has extended the Fullerton lead to 4 in what is a critical game out of Wheelock Gymnasium. This is Tigers basketball on Riverside TV.
Just disappeared. A devastating plant disease called Huanglongbing, or HLB, spread by the Asian citrus psyllid, is fatal for citrus trees, and it might be found in your own backyard. That's why it's important that we all do our part to keep California's citrus safe. Don't let California's citrus disappear. Visit californiacitrusthreat.org to learn more.
El censo cuenta a todos los que vivimos en este país, incluyendo aquellos que no pensarías que también cuentan. ¿Una persona en el hospital? Sí, cuenta. ¿Los García y los Álvarez que comparten la misma casa? Sí, todos cuentan. ¿El primo Luis que está viviendo en el garaje de Pedro? También cuenta. El censo cuenta a todos para que a todos nos vaya mejor.
Like a playoff game from Wheelock Gymnasium, the Tigers fielding an 8-game home winning streak in front of a raucous crowd at Wheelock Gymnasium, trailed by 4 early in the second half. Tigers not shooting too well so far, 39% from the floor, 3 of 11 from distance. How does Riverside turn that around?
They got to hit outside shots. Fullerton was sitting in that zone and making Riverside, daring them to shoot the basketball. Luckily, they've got a 3 here last possession, but they've got to make outside shots.
Amir Davis, the floater. 43-41, the lead for Fullerton. The Hornets have shot very well in the game. 49% led by Majay Smith, who entered double figures, and sends it to the slashing Howland. Swings to an open Stapp, who left the three-pointer short. Both teams crashed the glass. R.J. Knibb, the defensive effort for Fullerton. And the Tigers have a chance to tie the game with a 2-point shot, and the pass intended for Motley is poked away. RCC did a good job avoiding the turnovers to begin the game. That is their 6th giveaway. Fullerton has 9. Smith. A whistle away from the ball. Amir Davis, the freshman from Killeen, Texas, the personal for RCC.
Well, he's got to be happy to be out in Southern California. Have you ever been to Killeen, Texas?
I've been just about everywhere else in Texas.
Yeah, he's happy to be in Southern California. This is a dream.
I've got some friends who live in Texas, and they love it.
You have friends?
Well, that's how you know I'm lying.
Oh, Nick Rice, you're the best.
No, you're the best, Jeff. In fact,
come on, you said you were going to give me something good tonight.
I was going to give you something good. All right, so, when you look at Justin Motley, 6'10", got the size, the athleticism. You want to know who he reminds me of?
Who is that?
He reminds me a whole lot of Thanos.
Stop it. No, he's not. Stop it. You haven't seen a movie yet, have you?
Hey, I did, all right?
You did not. Thanos is looks built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's giant, not skinny and tall.
Hey, but he can just get rid of anybody he wants to, right?
Yeah, with the snap
of the wrist. He can get rid of any shot. He cleans it all up, all right?
Stop it, Thanos. Come on. I thought you were going to get me with something good. He just said Thanos.
Something good?
Yeah, he's like the guy Frozone.
I said I get you. I didn't say I get you.
Okay, now, are you the Incredibles fan? He looks like Frozone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he's real tall and thin. Thanos. Come on, Nick Rice.
Hey, well, that guy's sliding all over,
No, the guys are up in the booth are going, what are you talking about?
I thought only
you were
a
going to
couple.
say he was an NBA guy. You were going to compare him to like Clint Capella or somebody like that.
He's in Atlanta. He doesn't even matter anymore, right?
Chris Bosh.
Hey, now, Chris Bosh.
Thanos. Well, at least you tried. At least you threw something in there.
Tried.
You gave it the old college try.
Man, even when I try my best, huh?
No, you're still the best.
Starting to figure out what that means. Layup crawls off the rim. I'm sure you are fielding questions for the remainder of the game for whatever you want to figure out with good old Nick Rice.
Remember, during football season, we did the old trivia. Nick Rice, everybody would give me trivia questions to ask.
One of those 62-0 games we thoroughly enjoyed.
We had a couple doozies in football this year. But this one right here is pretty darn good. They're getting after it.
Yeah. Mount Rushmore. You gave me some crazy question as well.
I gave you who was buried in Grant's tomb, and you said you didn't know who Grant was. I said, Grant, who's buried in Grant's tomb? Grant.
I was too busy.
That's an old joke.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to figure out who Ulysses Grant is, and I'm sure he could help the Tigers right now.
Just stop.
40.
Stop.
Hornets by 4. This is Tigers basketball on Riverside TV.
The Community Police Review Commission was created to promote public confidence in the professionalism and accountability of the City of Riverside's Police Department. The commission consists of an all-civilian panel of members from across the city. The commission's roles include advising the mayor and city council on all police relations issues, reviewing and investigating officer-involved deaths, receiving complaints, and conducting hearings on misconduct against sworn Riverside police officers, making policy suggestions, and bringing community concerns to the attention of the Riverside Police Department. If you're interested in learning more about how you can serve or for information on the commission, visit riversideca.gov/CPRC.
Gymnasium, as I mull over some of these resignation papers that have hit my desk. Hornets lead 45-41. I got a question for you, Jeff.
Well, I have one first for you.
All right.
Do you know who Ulysses S. Grant was?
You know what? During the commercial break, I was greeted by some very friendly guests who let me know about just how mean Jeff Gorham is.
Hey, he was the 18th president of the United States.
He's 18th president.
Yes, he's General Ulysses S. Grant, president of the United States. Okay, what were we going to ask me? Go ahead. I'm ready.
Because you poke the few holes in my otherwise cultured mind, all right?
Oh, I'm not poking holes. I am straight out running through them.
You're throwing into the ocean, are you? We've got a quick timeout on the floor. Do you know who Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is?
Come on, man. Just knock it off.
It doesn't knock it off.
Just knock it off of those questions. So I know who Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is.
Oh, man, you know?
Yeah. All I have to say is Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh.
Who is he?
I don't know.
He was the president of the United States. Come on.
Everybody knows, the big story, the big ones, the big presidents.
No.
People get trumped about who the second president is.
You know who the second president was?
It's an Adams, right?
Oh, golly.
One of those Adams.
Let's just stop. Just stop. You know what? I'm going to give you this shovel, and you're going to dig this really deep
I got to get out of this hole.
You're going to dig
I'm already in this hole.
No, you're going to dig you're going to take the shovel, you're going to dig the hole, and then you're going to be buried right next to Grant.
Right
Grant's
next
tomb.
There you go.
Oh, my golly. Now, during the break here, as you look at the Coach Matthews talking over his team, did you hear the wonderful band from RCC?
Did I hear it?
Did you know what song they were playing?
The Marching Tigers band.
Oh, my golly.
All right, and in this, in my defense, I wasn't really paying attention.
How can you not pay attention to the band? It's the loudest thing. I mean, seriously, we have headphones on. If you didn't have headphones on, you would have tinnitus. Do you know what tinnitus is?
Yeah.
You don't either. Stop it. Tinnitus. You know, like when you go to a concert. You ever been to a concert?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been in the mosh pit?
Like right in front?
Yeah, like where it is, and you got the speakers real loud, and then when you go home that night, you hear that tinging, that ringing.
Shoot,
in your ears.
I'm a little baby because I'm in the back, and I'll
but you get that ringing. That's tinnitus. That's exactly. That's when you listen to the band. You
Listen
get tinnitus.
to the band,
It's so
yeah.
loud. They're playing "Eye of the Tiger."
Eye of the Tiger.
You don't know what that is, do you?
Hey, that's
Rocky, my man. That's Rocky.
That's Rocky, but that's also Kicking and Screaming, right?
What are you talking about?
Talking about, that movie with Will Ferrell and
the soccer one?
The soccer one, yeah.
You know what? Just go home. Just take
Hey,
it
that's a good reference, okay?
No, it's not.
Will Ferrell's one of the best. Motley. Fullerton might be the only defense that denies him at the rim.
You just said "Eye of the Tiger." It's a Rocky song from
That
Rocky.
is the Rocky
and you
song,
said "Kicking and Screaming," the Will Ferrell soccer movie.
Yeah, I figured you know your way around a good kids movie.
Yeah, but I wouldn't reference "Eye of the Tiger" with "Kicking and Screaming." What do you think, guys? Am I right?
Oh man, they're getting sick and tired of.
It's having fun with Nick Rice time.
Oh man, nothing like the fans tuning into a basketball game to hear a presidential discussion, huh? I hear the Tigers are on their way to a conference title. Let's see what they're talking about. And it's been a good game, 45-43, and man by committee. And Riverside's layup ties the game. Keelan Vance, the freshman, flips it in.
Yeah, this team is very young. A lot of talking to their athletic director, our guy.
Yeah.
Do you know the athletic director?
Oh, Jim Woldridge. And he's just put together quite a career.
Yeah,
all right.
Great basketball coach himself, but he was telling me at halftime, he said this is a young team. He says that he's excited if they win tonight at a conference championship. The cupboard's not bare.
Yeah, and every year Philip Matthews has almost a brand new roster, almost a completely different roster from a season ago. And the Tigers, with that completely new roster, got off to a rocky start. They were 5-7 in the preseason, but they showed some promise, and as soon as they hit conference play, kick out of bounds, Smith has it dribbled off the leg of Ford of Riverside. And RCC, to the credit of Philo Matthews, they've been one of the hottest teams in the second half of the year.
Yeah, 18 wins. That's pretty impressive. And 13-2 in conference. And it's the toughest conference, I think, in all of community college basketball.
3 of the top 14 teams in the state are in the Orange Empire. Turnover Fullerton. And the Tigers are playing better against this conference than out of conference. Fullerton was the preseason pick to win this conference. And after the Hornets started the season 11-0, they have since gone 10-4 in the league. Driving layup gives Riverside the lead on the finish from Kalen Vance. Tigers open the second half down 38-30. A 17-9 run has lifted Riverside in front. Nick Rice, Jeff Gorham from Wheelock Gymnasium. Richardson provides the defensive effort. Melvin Walker the steal. And Walker changes gears and spins on Smith, who falls down. Richardson to the basket, floats it in, and the Tigers have taken over the second half.
Yeah, finally they're attacking the rim. You attack the rim, maybe it'll spread the floor out. You might be able to hit some open shots here. They're sitting on a nice 4-point advantage here.
Perry Webster, an excellent coach and player coming off an incredible career at Fullerton as a point guard. He calls timeout. Fullerton with a 4-point deficit as the Tigers have taken over here in the second half. This is Riverside basketball on Riverside TV.
Thanks to Measure Z funding, the Public Works Urban Forestry Division was able to enhance tree trimming services by speeding up the trimming cycle. The city used to trim trees once every 8 or 9 years, but we now have a new goal of trimming every tree in the city once every 6 years. That's 25,000 trees every single year. Residents who want their city trees trimmed more frequently can take advantage of our low-cost tree trimming service called Tree Care Program for City Trees. Thank you for your support, Riverside, a Tree City, USA. For more information on any of our tree trimming services, call 951-826-5311.
Welcome back to Wheelock Gymnasium. Tigers lead 49-45. First 3 years from Philip Matthews as head coach of RCC, the Tigers did not make the playoffs, but they have secured their 4th straight trip to the postseason and are a win away from a conference crown. How difficult of a challenge is it to turn around a program?
It's really difficult, especially when you come from a 4-year program and dropping down to a community college. And like you said, you are inherited with certain guys. Nice move there, but you inherit a program, and it does take a couple of years, and everybody knew Coach Matthews would take over and really bring in the cream of the crop athletes, not only locally, but outside of the area as well.
Sammy Richardson, the Nebraska native, another out-of-city area, sends it to Walker, who misses a three-pointer. Tigers have remained frigid from the three-point line. Tigers 3 for 13 from distance, but their defense has picked up the slack over the last 10 minutes of the game, as Fullerton has been outscored by 10 since their sizzling start coming out the locker room. Smith, who has been cold as well, motors and missed the floater in the lane. Rebound to Iman, the Los Alamitos product, who misses the layup, yet is fouled by Motley.
Tell you what, he brings his lunchbox. He is a worker.
He really brings hard. His infinity stones too.
He's got one of them. He's got the power stone.
Okay, all right, there you go.
Don't even, you just referenced another one. I'm going to ask you what the infinity stones are, and you're going to go, power.
Commercial break. All right, free throw's good by Jacob Iman. You know there's another one coming out, right? Next year?
Oh, stop it. Just stop.
Just stop it, man.
You haven't even seen any of them. I told you to watch them.
Hey, I didn't have enough time. Give me a chance, Jeff. Amir Davis sends it to Xavier Ford, who cans the three-pointer. That's the sort of interior action that you were imploring Coach Jeff Gorham. And the kick out from Walker sent the open three to Ford. And while the Tigers haven't shot well from distance, they've had good looks.
Yeah, they've had good looks, and they've hit a few here in the second half. First half, they're 1 of 7. Right now, they're starting to heat up. But the thing is, they're drawing 2 defenders when they dribble penetrate. That's going to leave guys wide open. It gives you an opportunity to set your feet, get in your shooting pocket, and hit shots.
Yeah, 3 for 7 are the Tigers from distance in the second half. Good defensive effort from the Portland product. Keelan Vance with the steal, is 23rd of the year. Melvin Walker comes in averaging 4 assists a game, dumps from Ford, who then fires another 3 and nails it. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league at 38%. Defensive steal from Amir Davis. And this crowd can feel it. The Tigers are pulling away here in the second half. And that has to be, to some degree, as we see Xavier Ford drill another shot off the bench. Riverside has such a deep rotation. They've gotten off to some slow starts, but that fatigue really wears on their opponent in the second half.
It does. They had 7 players score in that first half. That just tells you right there how deep their bench is.
Now Fullerton plays 7 deep, Riverside 9 deep. And Justin Motley's a bit shaken up with 5:51 to go in the ball game. And a 55-48 lead for Riverside. Tigers, this is their final game of the regular season, as they celebrated the sophomores who have had such a big impact on this program. One of them is the aforementioned sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio, Justin Motley, one of only 5 sophomores. The Tigers have 15 players on their roster, so of the 15, 10 of them for the first time has a college schedule, has college distractions. I mean, this is very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. I'll tell you what, they're really starting to heat it up here, up 9 now. It's time running out here. Just a couple more stops. They could get this ball game in hand if they're smart.
Yeah, there's one stop that you mentioned for Jeff. Ford in the front court for Riverside. Gallops in the paint on Iman, yet missed the layup, and Jacob Iman snares the rebound. For all the big shots Xavier Ford has made in the second half, that was a point-blank layup. Iman, the moving screen, turnover Fullerton. That is their 17th turnover of the game.
And great acting. An amazing acting call from number 2, Melvin Walker, as you see right here on the replay. Watch. Oh, great acting.
Great.
Give him the Academy Awards were 2 weeks ago, right?
Right.
Or a week ago. Give him Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
In an action movie.
I mean, this has to be crushing, Jeff. Fullerton has 18 field goals and 17 turnovers. So almost as often, their possession ends with no shot versus a made shot.
That's pretty tough there.
Also for this game, Riverside has 26 points in the paint. Amir Davis into the paint on Motley and misses the layup. A good defensive effort from Iman of Fullerton. In the front court, Ryan Perry of the Hornets. Fullerton ranks 3rd in the Orange Empire Conference, scoring 71 points per game. Yet they have been shut down in the second half here, 57-48, Riverside by 9. Perry is smothered by 2 defenders. 4 to shoot, pull-up jumper is good.
Nice looking shot there from Devin Howland. Pretty looking jumper off the dribble.
Some of the Fullerton faithful making the trip across the 91 here. Motley, the high screen and roll, lob inside to the sophomore, who spins for position on Jacob Iman and scores. That crafty elbow put into the gut of Iman allowed for him to get that piece of positioning. And that certainly has to be a skill, considering that Motley comes into this game shooting 48%, one of the best marks in this conference.
And you can see it on the legs of the Hornets right now. A lot of their jump shots are hitting the front of the rim. Shows their legs are tired. Coach Matthews calling a full timeout, probably telling his guys, hey, we got 3:22. Protect the basketball. Protect the ball, you win the game.
RCC doing a good job of that so far in this second half. Tigers up 59-50. What's the game plan for Fullerton, who just has gone cold?
Well, they're going to have to pick up man-to-man now, obviously. There's 3:22 left in the game. You got to get after it. You got to get in those passing lanes. Neither team is in the bonus. You might want a foul here in the front court just to give yourself an opportunity to see if you can make Riverside miss some free throws. Riverside, on the other hand, has to protect the basketball. They cannot turn the ball over. They've got to fake a pass, make a pass, which means if they're overplaying you, you've got to hold on to the ball with 2 hands. Fake the pass, get the defender to jump, make the smartest pass possible. You do those things, protect the basketball, make free throws, you're going to walk out of here with the conference championship.
And Riverside, even before this game is finalized, the Tigers, if the playoffs were to start today, would enjoy a first-round bye before playing Los Angeles Valley at home in the opening round of the California playoffs. The Tigers advance to the Sweet 16 for the second time in 3 years last year. It should be entertaining to see how RCC fares in the playoffs, as the Tigers hope to represent this entire conference. As league champions, they would do so as at least co-champs with a win today. They will also be scoreboard watching as Santiago Canyon visits Irvine Valley on Friday and plays host to Santa Ana. That tip-off was at 6 tonight. Lob to Justin Motley. Slam dunk.
Great move. Showed the length there. He knew it was coming the entire time. Perfect pass, perfect finish.
3 from Devin Howland is no good. Nibb snares the rebound and flips it in on the follow as Motley took a tumble inside. And Perry Webster, the head coach of Fullerton, is on the floor, Coach.
He still wants to play. I think that was an offensive foul. He got away with an arm bar as he created some space for himself.
But these officials are letting him play today.
Yeah, Matty Ariano down there, his father, is in the Riverside Sports Hall of Fame.
Wow. You know, Philip Matthews is there too, right?
He is. I think he's not in yet, and I should know. I am on the executive board.
Yeah, you should know.
I should know, but he is not. But he will. I'm sure will be in there.
He is on the CCAA Men's Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame.
He is.
He joined that like 20 years ago, but, you know, with the Tigers, the standards are pretty high.
Yes, they are.
But Philip Matthews, I think he's done a pretty good job. 111 wins over his 7-year tutelage at Riverside. 23 wins, 18 wins, 20 wins, and with a win tonight, that'd be 19 victories. Those are his season totals the last 4 years.
Not bad.
Not bad. Amir Davis at 53% of the stripe, misses the front end of 2 free throws. Tigers hit 9 of 10 from the line on Friday in a big win here on Riverside TV over Santiago Canyon. Riverside struggling from the foul line tonight, just 6 for 10, but still lead by 9. Motley commits the traveling violation. He is imploring that he got pushed over the back there. Does he have a case?
You got to be smart. You got to see here.
Let's see if he does have a
case.
case.
Yeah, he moved.
Yeah, he moved.
That's on him. That's a good call there. Matty Ariano.
Still would be tough to come back down 9, and Motley commits his second goal, 10 of the half. 61-54. Hornets, the top scoring defense in the conference, are searching for a couple stops here down the stretch of a 7-point game. Nick Rice, Jeff Gorm, Riverside wins the conference if they pick up a victory today. Tigers nearly commit a crucial turnover here in the second half. Tigers only 13 giveaways a game. That's a number that'll translate to playoff wins. Tigers have only 6 turnovers today and lead by 7. A basket here would be the early knockout punch. Melvin Walker dances and fires a 3. Foul called inside. Iman of Fullerton was battling with Justin Motley, and Riverside's got the ball back.
And Motley right now is going to go to the free throw line shooting 1-1. He's got to make these baskets. I told you earlier, make free throws, protect the basketball, you walk out of here. They had a 9-point lead, now down to 7.
Ronnie Stapp with his second personal. It should be noted, Amaje Smith has 16 points, but 4 personal fouls for Fullerton. Riverside has no player with any more than 2 personals. Tigers defending well, and they are not fouling.
And if you're Riverside, you want to show pressure here. Make them pass the ball in early instead of making them roll it down the floor, giving them extra time, then get back, and then play defense from half court out.
The 61% free throw shooter hits both. And Fullerton is in desperate need of a couple shots made in a row here to avoid a crushing road loss and a season sweep for Riverside over these Hornets. Smith drills the three-pointer off the bounce. Amaje Smith with 19 points, 2 triples, 3 boards, and 2 assists. What a game for the sophomore from Santa Monica.
He's been pretty good.
San Diego, sorry.
He's been pretty good. Look at that shot. I mean, it's nothing but net. If you're Riverside, you got to know who your scorers are. You have to stop the big-time scorers. Smith is that guy. You put 2-3 guys on him, make someone else beat you. Because so far he has been the best player on the floor for the Hornets. I'm sure Coach Matthews is saying that right now. You've got to. It's almost like a boxing one. You have 4 guys playing a little bit off man, and the other guy's just taking away everything he can. You face guard him, he does not catch the basketball. Let's see if they do that here coming out.
As for Riverside's freshman guard, Xavier Ford, he came off the bench today and took his role as the sixth man for the Tigers. He has been in and out of the starting lineup, 4 of 6, a team-high 15 points with 3 triples in the game. He was integral to the Tigers coming back in the second half.
He's like Lou Williams.
Yeah. And that's maybe as fierce a battle as these two teams. Battle of powers here between Riverside and Fullerton, and Xavier Ford, the aforementioned freshman, took a hard shot from Devin Howland of Fullerton and draws the foul.
That was a whole lot of hair on that foul. Those two guys have big hair. Watch this. Like a hair convention.
Look at the hair move right there.
Yeah,
Xavier Ford.
I'm bald, and I really wish I had that kind of hair. I'd grow it all out, my big locks.
I'm pretty sure all these players wish they had that type of hair.
Not my type of hair, which is none.
It's really bright and shiny, all that hair you have. Wonderful hair there.
No, yeah.
Jeff Gorham. And it certainly has to be impressive considering for Riverside that this program, I mean, they've been good the last couple of years, what have you, successful, 3 straight trips to the playoffs, set to make it a 4th. The fans come out to this game today as if it is a state championship game. What an atmosphere we've had tonight.
Yeah, it's great. It's a loud gym, and I'll tell you what, Riverside has been dominant, I want to say, over the last 50 years. I mean, it has always been a basketball power. You talked about Jerry Tarkanian, you talked about Bill Mulligan, Bob Russo, Bob Schermerhorn, Dave Waxman, Coach Matthews, John Smith. Those are legendary coaches.
Yep.
And all of them have won while being here at RCC.
RCC, winners of a state championship for women's basketball in '86, 4 state titles, last in 2009 for the RCC men. Tigers clinging to a 6-point lead. Fullerton has to foul here. Or do they?
They're going to have to. Yeah, but they got to get somebody.
Touch foul on number 4, freshman Ryan Perry. But the Tigers have been close to the playoffs, including last year's trip to the Sweet 16. Tigers dispatched by the hottest club in the state, and Santa Monica. The Corsairs beat Riverside here and went all the way to the state championship game where they lost to these Fullerton Hornets a year ago. So if you want to be the best, the Tigers are a couple seconds away here from sweeping this best in Fullerton. With 2 near double-digit wins against the Hornets, that's a pretty impressive feat in the regular season.
Yeah, 3 wins in a row. Saddleback, Santiago Canyon, and now Fullerton. That's a good way to end your season.
All those teams ranked in California. Foul on the shot as Davis got a hand up. And Fullerton's Amanje Smith, who has just been sensational in this game with 19 points, is back at the foul line for Fullerton. And he struggled when these two teams met last time, but like a good shooter, he just keeps, despite a tough night, he comes back and plays well and continues that aggressive shot. 20 points now for Smith.
He definitely plays hard. From start to finish, both ends of the court, he is very aggressive here. 4 fouls here, but played really well in this ballgame.
And a free throw here would make it a 4-point game. And Fullerton would be implored to foul, but of course, an offensive rebound would help more. That's out of bounds, last touched by Fullerton. And Devin Howland. And a timeout is exhausted by Philip Matthews of the Tigers with 42.1 seconds left to go in the game. This is Tigers basketball on Riverside TV.
The Riverside Fire Department has a proud history of serving our community for over 130 years. That spirit of service continues as we move forward into the future. Thanks to the voter-approved Measure Z funding, the Riverside Fire Department has been able to purchase various new fire apparatus to better serve the community. 17 new fire vehicles in total, and several are already in service. The list includes 8 fire engines, 3 tiller trucks, 1 straight truck, 1 brush truck, 2 water tenders, and 2 squads, which are already in service. These new fire apparatus are a vital part of helping the Riverside Fire Department continue to meet its mission to protect life, property, and the environment by providing exceptional and progressive all-hazard emergency services, public education, and safety programs. Measure Z and the Riverside Fire Department. Your tax dollars at work.
Edition of Riverside basketball here on Riverside TV. Nick Rice and Jeff Gorham. Tigers a critical possession here. 42 seconds to go in the ball game. It's the Tigers by 5. And a 5-second violation is assessed on the freshman Amir Davis. Hornets possession after a critical turnover.
Yeah, if you are Coach Matthews, you got to be a little angry there. You have a timeout. You got to call it. Don't give up the turnover, which you just did. No time on the clock turnover.
RCC led by 9 a moment ago. Inbound intended for Iman, sails over the freshman's head for the steal. And the top scorer tonight for the Tigers with 17 points and 6 for 7 shooting from the line. We'll head to the stripe with 2 free throws as Fullerton has reached the double penalty.
And you got to like that aggressiveness and confidence. Handling the basketball, knowing you're going to get fouled, wanting to get fouled, go to the free throw line. Make some big ones here.
Yeah, sure did. Xavier Ford from Pasadena City, closer to Fullerton than to Riverside, but Tiger head coach Philip Matthews snared him out of that LA area and has made quite an impact in his freshman year.
I'll tell you what, Coach Matthews called a timeout after that first free throw. I'm sure he's telling them, hey guys, you got to be smart here. Play smart basketball, get up, pressure a little bit. Don't make them beat you. You beat them by playing smart basketball. Let's see if we can do this here. They also have a foul to give too, so there's 6 fouls. Next foul will be 1-on-1, so.
Couldn't hear any of that, Jeff.
Because that band was, band's super loud.
Oh, man. And they've gone through a whole playlist of songs tonight.
Yeah, and they've given me tinnitus.
This would put this game on early ice. Ford hits the free throw. 3-possession game, 38.7 to go. Riverside came back down as much as 8 points in the second half and leads 68-61. The kick out from Perry. Corner 3 is short, and Ford flies in. Riverside has rebounded well in the second half. And Jeff Gorham, as you look at your watch, we may not have an overtime tonight.
I believe we won't. I think Riverside is going to be the Orange Empire champions.
And an incredible year for Riverside, who got off 5-7 start. They did have a tough non-conference schedule. In fact, the last time they lost a home game was against the second team in the state, East Los Angeles. And that game was 79-73. There were some big takeaways from that game, and now Riverside has defended their home as this free throw is good from Walker. The Tigers are moments away from winning their 9th straight home game.
That's pretty impressive, and we'll get a home game, I'm sure, in the playoffs with a bye. Or I should say after the bye.
I'm sure they'd love to play during the bye.
Yeah, they pick up games.
70-61, the Tigers after this game, as this shot from Smith is no good. Outlet is thrown away. Smith the steal to keep Fullerton in the game. Smith misses the 3 short. Out of bounds off Fullerton, and that may just about do it. Riverside, I mean, they may have to have some pickup games because after today, they do not play on Friday. The rest of the conference does. And Riverside also is set to have a first-round bye with at least a co-conference championship. But the top seed in the Orange Empire, the Riverside Tigers, with their 9th straight home win, including a sweep of Fullerton, the Tigers defeat the Hornets by a final score of 70-61.
A great win for Coach Matthews, his players, and his staff. After losing nearly everybody last year, coming back with this team, a young team.
Yep.
And the future is bright, and the future is now for Riverside.
Tigers 10-3 at home. They finished the regular season 19-9 overall, and at least a co-conference championship as the Tigers finished the regular season 14-2 against the Orange Empire. Fullerton, the preseason pick to win the conference, will finish at least third, if not fourth in the league. Hornets on Friday, play host to fourth-seeded Saddleback. Riverside 70, Fullerton 61. Tigers a tough start to the second half, but Jeff, that sensational defense kept Fullerton from having their type of shooting performance we thought they'd have after the intermission.
Yeah, they just played smart basketball. That was atypical of Coach Matthews' team. They played disciplined, they played smart, and that's what got them the win tonight.
Ready for some playoff action, Jeff Gorham?
Always. If I'm in town, I'll be here.
Now, you're almost never in town. Don't go to Rome anymore. We need we need some more wins here.
I'm telling you, going to Hawaii next week.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's fun times.
It's also been a paradise for head coach Philip Matthews. It is his first conference championship as a Tiger coach. That's got to feel pretty good.
Oh, it's great, and I'll tell you what, my hat's off to him. I'm happy for him. It's nice to see he wins everywhere he's been. It's nice to see him get this feather in his cap.
Fourth straight trip to the playoffs. That's another feather in the cap of Philip Matthews. Tigers winners tonight by 9 over Fullerton. Make sure to keep it tuned to Riverside TV. We'll have more about Riverside basketball and also UC Riverside and more in high school and college athletics. But until then, Tigers conference champions dispatch Fullerton 70-61. For the rest of our broadcast crew, Jeff Gorham alongside me, Nick Rice saying so long from Wheelock Gymnasium. The Tigers are conference champs.